Hi everyone. At today's practice station, you will be using the treasure map in order to complete numbers 2 through 13 on page 273 of your book. The objective of today's lesson says we will participate in blended learning, like you are right now, as we extend our knowledge of division. We talked about this the other day. If we're going to extend our knowledge of something, it means that we are going to take what we already know and learn more about it. So we're going to learn more about division with two-digit divisors. Remember, the divisor is the number that's on the outside of the house in division. As we work in small groups, as you are right now, to estimate quotients. I want you to take the next 15 seconds and talk with the person next to you about what it means to estimate quotients. A quotient is the answer to a division problem. So what you're going to be doing today is looking at the answers to your division problem and using rounding strategies to see if your answers make sense. And that's what to check if our answer is reasonable means. If our answer is reasonable, it makes sense. Our estimate and the real deal answer will be close enough to say, I definitely did the division correctly. We are going to use this problem shown here in the flipped video. So if you haven't gotten your notebook out yet and a pencil, please do so right now so you can do this along with us. And if not everyone in your team is ready, please pause this video until everyone is. 568 divided by 42 is our division problem. The first step when we are estimating is to estimate our dividend and our divisor. So we're going to take 568 divided by 42 equals, we're not sure yet. We're setting it up the long way so that we can build our fence and peek over easier when we're rounding. So we're going to round 568 to the hundreds place. And we're going to round 42 to the tens place, which I've underlined right now. The next step in rounding is to build your fence to the right of the number that you underlined and peek over. Okay, now that we're all set up, we can round. We have 568 here. 5 is peeking over the fence and it sees a 6. This 6 is telling the 5, go up by 1. And everything on the outside of the fence changes to a 0. Move our division sign down. And we do the same thing here. The 4 is peeking over the fence and it's looking at a 2. This 2 tells us 4, stay the same. Anything to the right of the fence becomes a 0. And put our equal sign. The next step is to use our strategy of crossing off zeros. If we have a 0 here and a 0 here, we can just say that they equal each other out and just get rid of them. And now instead of 600 divided by 40, we have 60 divided by 40. And we ask ourselves, how many times can 4 fit into 6? Just one time. And then we bring over this 0. So 600 divided by 40 is 10. Since we estimated before we did the real deal, we're able to see that right now, by looking at our estimation, 42 can fit into 568 about 10 times. So our quotient here should be just around 10. When dividing, we always have to set up DMSB, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, because it keeps us nice and organized. If you don't have this set up, make sure you're doing that right now with this video. Our next step is to ask ourselves, how many times can 42 fit into 5? It can't, because 42 is bigger than 5. We put a 0 up in our quotient, and we're still at division. We have to ask ourselves that division question again. How many times can 42 fit into 56? This would be a time that you would use a whiteboard to use guess and check strategies to see how many times 42 can fit into 56. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to tell you right now, it can only fit in one time because 42 is very close to this number 56. If we were to multiply it times 2, it would be too much. It would be in the 80s. It would be 84 actually. So 42 times 1, dividing, 42 can fit into 56 one time, and we multiply. 1 times 42 is 42, and subtract. Before you do anything, make sure that you're checking off DMSB. 6 minus 2 is 4, 5 minus 4 is 1, and our next step is to bring down this 8. Now that we have checked off all of our DMSB, it's telling us that we need to go right back up top to D, and we need to ask ourselves that division question. How many times can 42 fit into 148? For the next 10 seconds, I want you and your partner to discuss what you need to do in order to figure this out. What strategy should you use based on your knowledge of division? I hope that you and your partner both agreed that you should be using guess and check strategies on your whiteboard in order to figure out how many times 42 can fit into 148. Because of the length of this video, I'm going to tell you right now it's 3 times. 42 can fit into 148 3 times. That's our division, and we multiply. 42 times 3 is 126. We subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. There's nothing to bring down, so we are done. Even though 22 looks like it's too big of a number to be a remainder, it can be a remainder because as long as this number is smaller than your divisor, it's okay to have a remainder that big. So our answer for 568 divided by 42 is 13, remainder 22. Remember that our objective of today's lesson was to extend our knowledge of division with two-digit divisors as we work in small groups to estimate quotients to check if our answer is reasonable. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to look at our real deal and we're going to look at our estimated quotient to see if they are similar. Our real deal is 13, remainder 22, and our estimated quotient is 10, so we can say yes, our answer is reasonable because 10 and 13 are very close to one another. Now get working on your practice station page in your book.